Hi, it's Will from StonemanCastle.com, and this is a tutorial on how to make an ancient Egyptian sword called a Khopesh, or sometimes it's also called a Khopesh. And this is a replica, cardboard replica of a real Egyptian sword. And I saw one of these in a museum in Cairo, and I thought, wow, that's something I've never seen anything like that. And it's pretty interesting. The Khopesh hasn't been used or made for over 3,000 years, but there are still some examples around in a few different shapes. And it's one of the interesting things about it is that it's a kind of a hybrid sword. It's half sword and half axe, and you can see it was made for particularly, hacking like this. You can see the shape of it. They were made out of iron, bronze, or copper, and because of that, you can tell that a straight sword wouldn't have been that good. This curved shape in here gives it some strength, so it actually has some strength, and that actually works in our favor for the cardboard too. So it's a really interesting sword, Khopesh, K-H-O-P-E-S-H, and I made it out of cardboard. And what I have here is, if you want to make one too, you just need a few things. You can download my PDF here. It says a little bit about it and gives you all the shapes. And then what you do is you print out and cut out the shapes to make the template like this. Put the template on cardboard and cut out 5 of them and then glue them all together. So 3 layers are full, and a top layer and a bottom layer have just the edging here, which adds a little bit of distinctiveness to it. And that's actually what they look like. They had that kind of it's almost like a ribbing in it. So that's a Khopesh. It's a really fascinating sword, Egyptian sword dating back some 3,000, 3,500 years. Kind of neat. If you're wondering about the Dragon Slayer 6, I am going to be working on that sword and making it. This isn't, of course, the Dragon Slayer 6. This is just something, an Egyptian sword that I thought was pretty fascinating. So here, I'll show you a little bit more about how it's made. Use your template to draw 5 copies of the sword, like this. Lay it down and just trace around it. If you want to make the sword simpler, just do 3 copies. That'll be fine to make the sword. The extra 2 are for ornament on it, which add a lot of time and work to it, but make it look a lot nicer. After you've sketched them out, after you've traced them, then cut them all out. Take your time with this and try to cut them out nice. Okay, cut out your 5 pieces of cardboard, and 2 of them are for the ribbing, the ornament on the sword, and 3 of them are just full, complete blanks. Glue all 3 together like this to make the sword, and then glue your ribbing on, your ornament right on top, one on each side. I'll add them like that. And the ribbing is kind of nice. It adds a little extra to the sword. And they are actually, many of the Khopeshes look like that. And once we do that, we'll be ready to paint it. Okay, this sword is done. And as far as building goes, now all I have to do is paint it. And it came out pretty good. It looks pretty good. And it's pretty strong. Of course, it's pretty strong. The design that they did to keep the metal strong for striking also works well for the cardboard. This curve here, a little bit of beef here, that actually. So this is a hacking and slicing weapon. And the design works for us when it comes to cardboard too.